Do you want to hit the driver further from the tee? Of course you do, everybody does. Well, today I'm going to show you the top 5 moves that you can make in your golf swing to do just that. So welcome back to the Forest of Arden and welcome to all the Golf WRX viewers. Today we're talking about the driver and I'm going to show you the 5 moves that you can make in your golf swing, which if done correctly can really help you add distance from the tee. So in today's video you're going to learn about some lower body action, including the trail leg. You're going to learn about how the upper body movement can really help you add distance. You're going to learn a little bit about the hands and how the movement of those can influence distance. You're going to learn about pressure shift and you're going to learn a movement through impact. If you can put them all together, you can certainly add some distance from the tee. So we're going to rattle through these. We're not going to go into too much detail, but we're going to start off with the trail leg and we would like it to lose some flex in the backswing. Let's explain why. So when I take my starting position, in the backswing, my hips are going to rotate by a certain amount. The more that my hips rotate, the more that my trail leg should lose flex. So if I was to rotate my hips excessively, my trail leg would eventually end up pretty straight. Now, if we're looking to hit the ball further, and we're looking to add some movements which encourage that, we really want to have more rotation through the body. And often I see golfers almost with a little bit too static in that trail leg, almost trying to lock it in place, which really robs them of rotation. So the first thing we're going to get you to do, if you would like to hit the ball further, and the first move we're going to get you to make is one where you allow the trail leg to straighten in the backswing, which in turn is going to give you more rotation through the hip area, more rotation through the upper body area, and that is going to help you generate some more speed in the downswing. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to allow or let that trail leg straighten in the backswing. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to focus a little bit more on the upper body and we're going to get you to add some extension in there. So extension would be this movement. So this is me starting in forward bend, which I would do at address, and this is me moving towards extension. If I continued, I would actually create a little bit of an arching movement in my back, and I almost feel as if my chest here is being pulled away from my belt buckle. The opposite to that is moving my chest towards my belt buckle. Now the shortest hitters out there are the ones who keep the distance between the chest and the belt buckle. The longest hitters will add some of that movement, they will add some extension. The longest hitters, the long drive people that you see hitting it over 400 yards will move quite a bit towards extension. We maybe don't need to go quite that far because it's not going to be the best for control, but if you can add some extension in your backswing, you're going to help yourself with your range of motion and that can only add more distance to your drive. So here's a little practical way you can think about it. Think about the zip or the buttons on your shirt and where that would actually point. If I stood up normally, that would point directly out in front of me. As I take my starting position, it points more down towards the ground because I'm starting in some forward bend. The sensation would be at the top of my backswing, I feel like I'm getting the buttons on my zip to point more up towards the sky, above horizontal. That's me adding this extension move. Extension is great for distance. We see all the long hitters. Dustin Johnson is potentially the best example of this. He adds quite a bit of extension in his backswing and we all know how far he hits the golf ball. So the second thing we're going to do is you're going to add some extension through your upper body. The third thing we want to focus on is how far the hands are traveling in the backswing. So let's give a pretty extreme example, but let's say I make a backswing where my leg straightens, I add some extension, but my arms are excessively narrow. What that means is the distance they traveled and the distance they will travel back to the ball is shorter than it could be. If we look at that versus a golf swing where those arms are traveling a good amount, a wide distance, this golfer who's got more extension in the arms and more width in the arms, they've got more time to generate some more speed. We know that speed comes from a few different places. Time is really important if we're trying to generate speed. The shorter the distance the arms travel, the less time we've got to create that speed. So the third point I really want you to focus on is actually trying to keep some distance between your hands and your trail shoulder. So all too often we see golfers with the trail arm getting far too bent at the top of the golf swing. And they may have a fantastic body movement, but if the distance here is too narrow, we know that the arms aren't wide enough, and those golfers are going to find it difficult to create some distance. So as we're allowing the legs to straighten, we're adding that extension. Let's see if we can get that trail hand as far away from that trail shoulder as we can, keeping some width in the arms. That's going to get them to travel further, and that's going to help you add some speed down there at impact where it's really important. We are now onto the downswing, and we're going to focus on a couple of moves, one to start the down and one through impact, which are going to be moves number 4 and 5. Move number 4 is just some real good early pressure shift. Pressure shift is how you apply a force to the ground, not to be confused with your weight. Weight is just your mass. We're talking of pressure, which is the forces you apply through the ground. So once you've made your backswing, the best golfers, the longest hitters, will have a relatively early pressure shift into that lead side. And you'll often see the longer hitters, as they start down, they'll often lose a bit of height. They'll often have that little squatting move. Tiger had it, Rory has it, and obviously they hit the ball phenomenal distances. But applying this early pressure shift into that lead side is a great way to add some potential energy. We still need to get that energy out into the golf ball, which is point number 5. But this is a really key move to adding some speed in the golf club. It wouldn't be uncommon to see a golfer who struggles with distance from the top actually just starting to gain a bit of height. They're starting to extend their body. The pressure shift into that lead side will normally come in sync with a slight squatting of the body. Now, again, on the golf course, a sensation that you could have is just trying to feel as heavy as you can through that lead side. So I'm trying to apply as much force as I can through that lead side, through that lead foot, through into the ground. So here's a little analogy I would like you to use. Imagine that you weigh a certain amount. Now I know we all weigh ourselves in different, but let's use kilograms for example. Let's say for argument's sake that I weigh 100 kilograms. If I stood on some scales, that would show 50 kilograms, that would show 50 kilograms, provided I was perfectly balanced. So the most I weigh is 100 kilograms, but I want you to have the sensation that early in that downswing, this lead foot, if you were stood on a scale, is going to read much higher than 100 kilograms. So what we're saying here is from the top, we're not looking to shift our weight. That would show 100 kilograms. What we're looking to do is increase the pressure and get the feeling that I'm trying to get that scale to read higher than 100 kilograms. I'm trying to apply a force through that left side. Now you'll notice what's happening as I do that, I have got this settling or this squatting move that we see so many of the best players demonstrate. So point number 4, and the move that's really help you add distance, is to get an early pressure shift into that lead side. Which brings us nicely onto point number 5, which is the upward move through the golf ball, the feeling of getting lighter, which is the final thing which is going to help us add some distance. And this has to be done, as you can imagine, after point number 4. So what do the best golfers in the world do, and the longest hitters, when they've made this pressure shift into this lead side? Well, they start to use the ground and they start to push up away from the ground. And we would see a straightening of the legs, we would see a raising of the pelvis. However, you would not see the head go up. So what you'll notice is I do those things, my head is not getting taller. I'm not raising in my height. So it shouldn't really massively affect my ability to deliver the club to the ball and hit the sweet spot. We're not looking for you to stand up. That's not what we're looking to do. But what we would like you to do is use the energy that we've created through the ground and use that to feel as if we take our belt buckle and we cause it to rise and point at the target. So my sensation here is I'm taking my belt buckle and I'm going to get it to rise and face the target. That's my sensation through the ball, rise and face the target. And that should help us achieve this nice extended finish position where we feel like the chest is pointing up towards the sky, the belt buckle's pointing out towards the target, and I feel very balanced on my lead side. And again, that position is something that we see week in, week out from the best golfers and the longest hitters. I appreciate quite a complicated video, 5 things in there, which I'm probably going to find, you're going to find it difficult to do that in the next golf swing that you make, be it at the driving range or the golf course. So I don't want you to try and do all of those things at once, but if you can sort of look at these 5 moves and think over the next 6 months to a year, 18 months, wherever it may be, can I start to work on those moves? Because if you can start to add some of those in or improve on those, you can really start to improve and change how far you hit the golf ball. So let's go ahead and hit this driver up this 14th hole. And I'm going to see if I can add in all of those 5 things and get this golf ball going a good distance down this hole. And that's just up the right side. That should be about perfect, although it might have just caught the first cut of rough. So 5 moves that you can make in your golf swing to help you hit the ball further. I really hope that helps you. I really hope it helps you hit some longer drives, because at the end of the day, it's more fun to hit it further off the tee. And the bonus is you'll probably lower your scores as well, because you've got shorter irons into the greens, and that results in shorter putts and lower scores. Thank you very much for watching. As I say, big thanks to the Golf WRX viewers as well. Usual stuff is down below. If you're not a subscriber, give that link a click and it will make sure you don't miss any future videos. Thank you again for watching. We'll hopefully see you back here again soon.